Can you start introducing yourself, please?
Introducing myself?
Yes.
Yes, oh, wonderful. So, I'm Jean-Christophe Bonis, that's my name, I'm French, born in Lille, north of France. My job is something very, very unique. I'm futurist. So it means that I'm following everything around the world concerning technology, innovation, and I'm trying to understand the consequences on society, human people, behaviors, consumers, strategies, and to forecast it for the next 10, 20 years. And something I'm doing is very specific is I'm not working in one country, but I'm trying to be very, very global, so to pass from country to others, to be able to give a good comparison, a good global view, and at the same time very practical view of countries, example of human being and so on, for everybody I'm working with or I'm lecturing in front of.
Do you think the future is female?
I think female as let me answer you in a different way.
Okay.
I think women's, and for me it's totally different than female. Women's are able to lead a deep transformation of the world. And you can see it in many countries or many parts of the world because they are able to deal with the ecosystem much better than men are doing. Look at in Africa. Look in India. These ladies, sometimes coming from nowhere and just dealing with a very small environment around them in the middle of a small village, poor people, these ladies are dealing with the money, are making sure that people are able to eat, are able to understand, are able to do the things in a good way, depending the position of being good or being bad of the culture they are living in. That's women that are leading that. And much more also in some countries like in Africa, where governments or international institutions are using women to give them the money because men are stealing them and not using it for the good way of the community but for the bad of their own personal life.
I realized you're a very sensitive person.
I don't know, I try to be.
I'm sure you are. And you are here in Brazil in a very special moment of our history.
That's right.
And how do you see and feel the future of Brazil?
You are like a teenager, not yourself, even if you are in some good way, but like the democracy of Brazil. I'm a foreigner, so by definition I don't have to say anything good or bad concerning what is happening. My point of view is just a point of view concerning the society, concerning people. You have an amazing country able to do and to lead South of America and who was leading in some way South America. But now, because of your past, who was not all the time the best one concerning dictator and so on, some people and many people are afraid about what could happen because you are a very young democracy in terms of freedom of election and so on. So it's exactly the same than when you are growing up as a human people. You are passing through some phases of life, for example like teenager, and everybody who has some child passing through teenager is saying the same. Teenage age is very complicated in the way of understanding and so on, and you need just to pass through. It's exactly the same in my point of view concerning Brazil. That's a period of life you need to pass through, and that's people that will lead the change. Every time in the history of big nations, you had someone arriving from the ground, from nowhere, and leading the change. Sometimes for the bad, sometimes for the good, but still it happened. So that's, I hope, what will happen to you, because you are clearly an amazing country, and I think people like me have the ability to help in some way, not by giving the direction, but by helping people to understand who they are, what they are able to do, and perhaps how to do and to deal with it. For example, in terms of being human, because we are both thinking that, in terms of using digital, and all these things for helping people to trust, to hope again, and so on. I'm sorry I'm long in answering this question, but that's a very interesting way. I was speaking with a gentleman this morning who was making the opening lecture this morning. He's leading, I suppose, if I understood well, the Chamber of Commerce and so on here. Very elegant gentleman and so on. And we were speaking together and they were telling me the minister and the mayor of Rio and so on. So I told him, perfect. If you want to look at what is happening worldwide, to try to find some way in terms of strategy about how to deal and to help poor people, look at what is happening right now in India. Indian people are for the moment able to make a deep digital revolution using innovation to change very deep everything inside the country, who is something like between 10 and 15 times bigger than youth, and also much more poor than the poorest people you can find in your favelas, even if I'm not comparing. So that's a perfect model of what could be done. For me, that's the way you need to act, because if you are not going on the road to give again hope to these people on the street, to these people who were losing their job from the morning to the afternoon, and not having anything else than going in criminality or just because they need to live. If you are not leading them with helping the women, managing the children and so on, to deal with this situation, and you can do it with innovation, you can do it with digital, you will go on the road of Venezuela. Sorry for this, but that's what is happening.
You've been traveling a lot. You know more than 80 countries.
87th, last contage. 87th, crazy.
Can you define what is to feel at home?
That's a very interesting position. I think that's different for everybody. I'm a typical nomad 2.0, so I'm the extreme of what you can find. I'm not owning anything. I have no flat, nowhere. I'm just living in a backpack because I think that suitcases are not useful and not very nice when you are going on stunts or so on. So I'm trying to have some tips for myself to feel at home everywhere I'm arriving. So first of all, I'm trying to don't move too much in period of time, meaning I'm moving all the time, but I'm trying in between to stay minimum 1 week everywhere, because I'm deeply trusting in energy we were speaking about. And you need a period of time when you are speaking and you are inside this energy model, you need a period of time to wait for your energy to come back, to arrive to you, because people trusting this kind of energy model understand the fact that energy is not traveling at the same way, same speed, vitesse is French, I'm French. Same speed, sometimes I have this kind of bugs. Same speed than human people now with the technology. So we need just the time, to get back to yourself. It's exactly like a lake and a storm. You have a huge storm, the lake is deep, but the lake is not translucent. You don't see anything about it. You just need to wait a bit when the storm is leaving. When he left, you need to wait a bit to have everything going slowly down to get back to something very, very amazing and translucent. That's the same for human people. So that's my first way of living, trying to travel but to stay. For example, here I'm here for 2 weeks, and I will after be 1 week and a half in Moscow, and I was 1 month in Asia, and like that. That's the first point. And the second point is to try That's my way. Two things. First of all, to create small habits everywhere you are staying, because that's by small habits that you are feeling home. Details, but for example, I love to take my coffee morning time, and usually I like to take my coffee all the time at the same place. Because even if I'm leaving 1 week after, the people know me, they know what I'm taking, and I'm feeling like at home. That's the first point. And second point, to listen to you. To be able to listen to your body, to be able to listen to you, to be able to follow what you need because you are getting older, and to make the necessary to have a comfortable life, not in terms of material stuff, of money, of that, just in terms of energy, balance, and happiness, sensation of happiness. So it means that I'm making meditation, I'm making some moments of concentration on power and so on. That's how I'm working.
Perfect. Who inspires you and what inspires you?
Many, many things.
Like what?
I'm at the same time as inspired by someone like Elon Musk, who is, for those who don't know, the very big entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, who was creating Tesla, who was co-creating PayPal, who was working on SpaceX and so on, because that's someone who have a vision and who is doing everything to build this vision. And this vision is not only something for himself, that's something for the society. That's the first kind of people that are deeply inspiring me by the way they are acting or the way they are thinking. For example, Stephen Hopkins, able to think differently or to take the things in different way. And the second kind of people, that's any kind of people you can meet in the street everywhere. It's not a question of social life, it's not a question of money, it's just a question of how you are looking at the world. You were showing a movie about a young guy in San Salvador, if I remember well, just enjoying his way of going deep inside water, of acting like that. This guy, for let's say international way of thinking, is nobody. For me, is amazing. And this guy is inspiring me as much as a lady I can see in the middle of the local favelas in India, who is able to deal with young guys or of young boys and girls from Bangladesh speaking much fluently English just because they were having access to internet by some local humanitarian organization and learning by themselves. We need to look at people and we need to see them with empathy and to understand what is important for us. I try all the time to make the mix between both, to be able to share this kind of way of thinking, of vibration with people, because I'm an opinion leader, that's my work, I'm doing everything to be one, and by the power of talking, by the power of words, using the good word and the good energy in front of people, you can change the world. Kind of. Or you will be part of. But you are acting more than reacting.
Perfect. Which country do you think it's closer to the future you see in your work?
No one. I'm afraid no one, because to answer you in that way, I will need to answer you in different way. Sorry. It depends the way you are looking. If you are looking at human being, at way of acting or treating your environment, we were speaking about Bhutan. It's amazing. The way they are treating the environment is very, very interesting. At the same time, if you are speaking about technology, vision and so on, you have countries like Definitely, people in Israel, Tel Aviv, are in technology very interesting. Of course, states are interesting, but also some other, let's say, local hub, like in Berlin, like in Paris, like in Brazil, in Rio. We have a lot of things also interesting. If you are thinking in terms of politics, I'm even not sure that one country is interesting, because for the moment we are far from what needs to be done. So it means that people are understanding that it's changing a lot, but still are searching themselves to find the road, and some are finding the road by a creativity, some by politics, some by socials, but you don't have the best answer. You have some very interesting stuff worldwide, but nothing global in one country.
Perfect. Can you tell me how digital and technology can make us more human?
That's easy. That's the easiest question. Since years, money and power is leading the world. If you are in a position of changing this way of thinking and considering that more than money and power, the power needs to be relation as a part of the paradigm, as a part of the model, it's giving a lot of answer of your question. And typically, what is happening now with artificial intelligence, with the fact that we have data about everything, and these data, of course, are used by companies to make more money for some of them, but for also some others, they are used to do the things better, more quality ones, more respectful ones. These data are also used by human people, by consumers. I know you don't like this word, but by us, to know much better everything about everything. It means that this technology are answering more what you need than what you want to sell, what people want to make you buy in terms of service of products. It means that that's changing the way, that's changing the value to the human people, to the fact to be human, because it will not be anymore a position for a bank being down of your flat. It will not be anymore a position for, I don't know, a retailer being cheap or so on. It will be a question of how you will consider this brand in terms of value, in terms of ethic, in terms of DNA. Are you feeling close to this brand because you are respecting their choice, you are respecting their value, how they are treating people, or you are not respecting how they are doing and how they are acting? And like that, it's changing absolutely everything. And that's changing from the word of power and money to word of human-centric relations.
We were talking before we were recording about animals,
Yeah.
and how can we learn with them. Have you been studying about biomimetic?
Biomagnetic.
Yes.
You are speaking about the next level of human being. Are you thinking about that?
I'm thinking about how we can learn with the nature.
Yeah,
and with
okay,
the
understand.
animals.
Okay, perfect.
In Portuguese, the word is biomimética.
Yeah, I see your point. We are for the moment in a situation of having a worldwide population growing in an exponential way. Half of the population, worldwide one, is not eating as they want. We will not be able to give food to everybody, and at the same time, scientists, startups, innovation is creating a way to kill the death. Meaning, the child in children garden will be living for half of them until 150. Someone will not die is already living now, because we have the soul and we have the body, and the body sometimes is getting down. We just change it like we are changing a wheel on a car. It means that we are not respecting our environments. We are killing 7 planets at the same time, so we are killing ourselves. It's very interesting to see how nature, environment is reacting due to this kind of things. And I deeply think that a big part of the population will be soon need to react due to these environments, because even if they are not trusting this theory, even if they are not following that, they are in a position of being killed tomorrow, very soon, because they will not have any more water, clean water. They will not have the ability to just breathe normally, or they will not be able to eat properly. And that will lead what is happening, because we will get back to some concrete, to some basics as human people, and women people, we are animals. So we need to live in one environment, and if we are not doing and treating this environment well, we will die. It's called evolution. Darwin was writing quite well on it.
That's perfect. What advice would you like to give to Brazilian kids?
The first of all, to go deep inside education, to try to enjoy the fact to learn, not to learn what people are imposing them, but to learn something that will lead their life, and to try to learn to understand what is happening, any kind of way, first of all. Second of all, it's not only Brazilian people, that's any kind of young people. The world we are living in is worse and worse every day. They need absolutely to draw in their mind a better future, to hope by drawing a better future, and to do that, to vibrate by enjoying small moment of life and being happy about vibrations they are doing around. Basically, it's called having fun. They need to enjoy what they are doing and not to do something for food, and to build their own future, not respecting what the society, the religion is telling them to do, but to trust themselves to be able to find a good road by vibrating. That's deeply my trust. That's deeply my advice for this new generation, because that's how they will be able to find their own way and to find themselves.
Nice. What's the legacy you would like to leave for this world?
I don't think that's to live something is something interesting. I think that you don't need to drive your life depending on what you will have as legacy for the world. You need to drive your life depending your ethics, depending your way of thinking, and if that things are good, if you are having some chance of being in a position of changing some mind, if you have some character of leading population because people need to be led, perhaps you will let something. And it needs, in my way of thinking, absolutely to be only one thing: brain, ideas, way of thinking, emotions. Everything else is bullshit. Because what does it mean to like some money or to like some, I don't care, but ideas will live forever. having ideas, giving emotion to a generation of people, being able to lead them, to make them vibrating because you are giving them hope, you will stay in the story. For that, much more than because you were building a big company or winning money or so on. That's deeply my trust.
The last question.
But not least, I hope.
Least. Did you look
Outside,
outside?
of course.
Would you rather be sailing?
Outside. Now, I don't think so. But definitely, I would like to sail. And definitely, I would like, to go deeper inside Brazil. It's my first trip in Brazil. I'm falling in love with this country and much more with the people and the country. And I'm deeply traveling for people and not for the countries and countryside. And clearly, I will come back and will take time to go inside different parts of the Brazil, to meet people from favelas, even if that's dangerous for many people, to understand what is Amazon and go deeper inside that, to meet people.
I'm sure you love, and you are very welcome here.
I'm
Thank
totally
you
sure.
so much.
Thanks a lot for
Thank
this
you.
moment.